Confessions. The big climax of any romance anime, the confession is often the culmination of episodes and episodes of build-up. That process of building the tension over hours of screen time, and then finally letting the characters share their love with each other, is part of what makes romance anime so addicting to watch. It's incredibly gratifying and lends itself super well to a taut will they won't they dynamic, even if we all know that the couple will end up together at the end of the day. Some romance anime subvert this formula, like 100 Girlfriends or I Have a Crush at Work, but generally the broad strokes remain the same. The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity was everything I wanted in a show. Everyone in the show is so full of love for everyone else, and watching little conflicts arise and get resolved was something I could repeat over and over for as many seasons as they want to make. It's a feel-good show in the fullest sense of the phrase. At the center of the anime is the relationship between Kaoruko and Rintaro. Kaoruko helps Rintaro open up through the course of the first season, both to her and his loved ones. Almost more than a romance, this season is about Rintaro growing up, learning to see the world around him more clearly and speak the words he wants to say. But make no mistake, there's still plenty of romance. Watching Kaoruko and Rintaro fumble their way towards being together is charming in its embrace of young love, and is supported by some spectacular visuals. In the penultimate episode of the season, we finally get Rintaro's confession to Kaoruko. Well, at least in part. It's a bit abbreviated. It's a quiet, hesitant moment, and one that he almost tries to take back right after saying it. There's so much to this scene that is both entirely fitting of the anime as a whole, and a break from plenty of confession traditions. Immediately after watching it, I thought of another favorite show of mine, Love is War. This series also has two separate confession scenes, but I want to focus more on the one at the conclusion of Ultra Romantic. Similar to Fragrant Flowers, it's an incomplete confession, one that needs further resolution down the line. But that's where the similarities stop. Everything about Miyuki's elaborate scheme is the opposite of Rintaro's slip of the tongue. So I want to dive into these two different confession scenes, looking at what works about each approach to romance anime's defining moment. Let's start with Fragrant Flower. Rintaro's initial confession to Kaoruko is defined by being understated in every possible way. They are on a little trip with friends and are simply squatting on the beach and lighting sparklers. It's an intimate moment, but there's nothing special about the circumstances. What makes this special is Kaoruko and her outlook on life that we've watched rub off on Rintaro throughout the entire season. Kaoruko loves her friends and enjoys life fully. Rintaro was a closed-off character, worn down after being feared and ostracized in his younger years. Kaoruko has helped him to open up to the friends that he loves so dearly, and to start enjoying the beats of his own life. In that sense, I love how this scene starts from a broader perspective, and narrows down to the romance between the two of them, because it mirrors in many ways the path that this entire season has taken. But as the conversation moves towards their relationship, I love how simply the love Rintaro has is broken down. It's like we're reaching conclusions at the same time as him. Rintaro loves spending time with Kaoruko and doesn't want it to end. What is a relationship in its barest parts but wanting to spend an indefinite amount of time with someone that you like? Kaoruko sweeping in to assure him that they can keep seeing each other cements his feelings for her, with some awesome visual cues with the sparkler going out and then lighting anew. That's just the setup though. Let's talk about the confession itself. No preamble, no grand gesture, just a hushed, I like you. And then an apology, very fitting of Rintaro. But what I love about it, in the moments that follow, is this very pervasive sense of fear. It feels like the vast majority of romance anime take place during the high school years, but I've yet to see one capture so vividly the true panic that surrounds something like this. Kaoruko is the more confident one through the season, driving forward a lot of the romance. But moments like these are as scary as they are exciting, and I'm so charmed by how it plays out here. It's so funny to compare how she's able to tell Subaru about her feelings for Rintaro on the playground, but here she is frozen. And the downtrodden looks of the two of them at the bonfire, so great. Unrequited feelings are tough. Finally, the aftermath with Rintaro is also refreshingly honest. The cringe, mixed with relief at finally getting it off of his chest, also rings so true. Romance anime confessions can often be these perfectly curated moments, where both characters gleefully embrace their new relationship. This is a markedly different approach, one that embraces the awkwardness and anxiety that can accompany the love in real life. Now let's look at the first confession from Love is War. Unlike Fragrant Flowers, that is the culmination of one season of tension, this is a much bigger payoff. 3 full seasons of frustratingly slow relationship progression is finally coming to a head. Now, to be fair to the show, playing the comedic angle buys you a lot more license to drag things along without it getting stale, but I still think that things were reaching a breaking point. So when Miyuki is finally going to get everything out there, he's not going to do it halfway. If Fragrant Flower's confession was rooted in something approaching reality, this is anything but. Everything is over the top. The long trail of clues laid out to lead Kaguya to the clock tower, the giant release of all of the heart-shaped balloons, and Miyuki's hilarious cosplay. In many ways, this anime is about Miyuki's inferiority complex when he compares himself to Kaguya, and the way that it impedes his love for her. On the reverse side, Kaguya is equal parts prideful and embarrassed, which also painfully pulls her back from revealing her true feelings. But here, finally, the two get fed up with waiting and something's gotta give. Rintaro's confession is a realization that finally takes form and slips out of him. Miyuki and Kaguya's confessions are like pots finally boiling over. The confession here drags everyone else into it, with the heart balloons drifting down to the bonfire and attracting attention. It's a very external confession in that way, less intimate and more of a spectacle. While both of our protagonists have some nerves in the scene, they are clear in what they both want. They speak directly to each other about their feelings. The kiss Kaguya gives Miyuki the cherry on top to this point. This confession is an explosion of pent-up feelings, and the grand layout is a direct reflection of this love. So in broad strokes, Fragrant Flower's scene on the beach provides an intimate, internally focused moment between our main pairing, while Love is War opts for a grand, external gesture of love to express the culmination of its romance. But the two still share plenty in common. The big thing they share is that both confessions are incomplete. Rintaro and Kaoruko get interrupted by the others before Kaoruko can respond, meaning that the confession does not get resolved until the summer festival. And Miyuki and Kaguya's confession is incomplete because both of them are still holding on to their fears and reluctance that has come to define them. Only at the conclusion of the following movie do they both finally let go and open up to one another fully. So both of these confessions are starting points, rather than complete thoughts. I also want to shout out this scene from the Love is War confession. It pulls back from the big moment to humanize our two characters as high schoolers again. I found it really charming in a way that reminded me of Rintaro and Kaoruko. It's a good reflection point to see the larger differences between the two of them. The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity and Love is War both feature initial confessions that say a lot about the characters and the story that came before it. Fragrant Flower's confession scene focuses intensely on the ways that Rintaro and Kaoruko have impacted each other's lives, and really get at the nerves that infiltrate all parts of young romance. Love is War's confession gives form to the intense battles that have raged inside of Miyuki and Kaguya for 3 whole seasons, turning a moment of intimacy into a spectacle for the entire school. If Fragrant Flower is a realization, Love is War is a declaration. Both work extremely well, providing that satisfaction that all romance anime fans look for. But it's still fun to compare how wildly different they are in style, and the goals they set out to achieve. And that ends this week's episode of Split Screen. If you enjoyed, liking and subscribing helps a ton, as does hitting the hype button on the mobile app. As always, drop me suggestions for future videos and anime below. I'm SlamAnime, and I'll catch you on Friday for Love and Anime.